It is open line night with Mayor Briley and also Ashford Hughes, the Chief Diversity Officer in Metro Nashville. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, men, for joining us as well. We're going to get right back to the phones. We got lots of callers. Ann is on the line. Ann, thank you for your patience. What's your question tonight?
Yes, I've got a quick little comment and a question for the mayor. First, we as citizens have to get involved. Last week I overheard a conversation between some Metro students and got really alarmed, and for 3 days reached out to a Metro principal, and for 3 days got no contact. When I was advised to call Metro non-emergency, the officers were at my house within 10 minutes taking a report so that they could go to the school because they felt it was serious. At the same time on my television, breaking news on the death of that young musician was taking place. It was a serious situation of a student that was taking pictures of the animals he was killing. We have to get involved, and if you feel in your gut something's wrong, we have to follow through on it. And that's what I have to say on that. But my question for the mayor is, people worked long and hard to build a structure and a foundation for the Community Oversight Board. What is he doing as our mayor to see that nothing changes the foundation and structure of Nashville's first Community Oversight Board? And I am implying legislation as well as any future changes this first year that this Community Oversight Board that meets for the first time tomorrow at 4, what is he personally doing to see that nothing changes that structure?
And great question. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up because there is effort on the state lawmakers' part to kind of implement some rules on how different communities institute these community oversight boards, and it really could have an effect here.
Right. So there is legislation that's being considered at the state. That I read it briefly, and I think it would eliminate the subpoena power. It might limit our ability to sort of have categories of members based on employment or geographic location or economic background. And then the third thing I think it does is it would require you to be a registered voter to be a member, which is not currently required. So I was up at the Hill today meeting with the state legislators to talk to them about the legislation. I met with a couple from Nashville and then a couple from other parts of the state. Tomorrow I'll be up with the meeting with more legislators to talk to them about our city's desire that the Community Oversight Board referendum be left as it is. Now, notably, Knoxville has had a very similar Community Oversight Board for decades, literally since Victor Ashe was mayor there. That includes subpoena power. Now, the subpoena power was never even utilized. It has never been utilized in Knoxville. So I'm going to go up and do my best to keep the state legislature from doing anything at all to override the will of the people that was shown in the November vote. I don't really have a good sense yet about how much momentum there is behind it, but we have lobbyists up there working hard on it. I'm spending my own personal time on behalf of the city of Nashville up there talking to people about how important it is that it stay the way it is in Nashville.
Very good. Okay, let's move on to James here. James, you are on the line. What's your question tonight, James?
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
My question concerns the growing cost of administration. Several of my friends are quite successful in business, and over the period of time, when we look at the major programs, whether it be education, whether it be health care, or whether it be in just strictly the core government, the biggest portion and the biggest growth comes in administration cost, and it doesn't appear to us that it is really going to its originally intended purpose. And it's very frustrating in that, I mean, these people are successful business people, CFOs of multi-hospitals, big businesses, and when we are on the 19th hole and look at it and we say, you know, that the administration just keeps getting larger and larger, and we think there's enough money in most of these departments that it's just disproportionately spent on administration.
Do you have any hard numbers that you could give on the size of your administration?
Well, I can tell you that the mayor's office budget was cut by $300,000 last year, so we're operating on significantly less than we operated on in the year before. It was, I think, a 6% budget cut for us this last year. I agree that in order for us to make sure we're being efficient, we have to look very closely at administration every single year. I know you're probably going to ask me in a little while about the anticipated savings that we incorporated into each budget for every department. And what that requires the departments to do is to go look closely at what they're doing to see how do we best balance our budget and provide the same level of services to the community. And so last year we put an anticipated savings number into each and every department's budget, and it required them to go back and look and say, okay, how can we be more efficient with the resources we currently have? And I think we'll see some significant savings along those lines. We're also trying to look at everything we do and find some novel developments that incorporate new technologies. So now,
are you constantly weighing cost and benefit of some of these programs?
Well, you know, we try to, and we try to ask every department to do it. We pick up trash. You know, so so that's one of those things that we try to be as efficient as we possibly can on it, but we're always going to pick up the trash. But for example, we looked at the downtown recycling program where we were picking up glass, and we saw that the cost of picking up the glass and recycling it was about 8 times the cost of picking up the trash. We also saw that the use was relatively low. On the other hand, there was a lot of use for, or a lot of desire to have cardboard recycled. So we increased the number of cardboard recycling runs. We took away the glass recycling, and we're going to save money and I think provide better services to the businesses downtown. So we're always looking at it, and we're looking at parking right now and trying to figure out a better way to bring revenue into the city and be better stewards of the parking spaces that we have as a community. And so we've gone out and hired consultants to help us figure that out. We've done an RFP and hopefully be announcing a new company to do that for us in the coming years. There's really basic stuff, and we do it the same way. We'll probably keep doing it the same way, but there's some stuff that is really changing out there, and we're trying to be forward-leaning in terms of integrating new technologies.
As you alluded to, I am going to ask you about some of that cost savings. Ben Hall's been working on a News Channel 5 Investigates piece that will air tonight at 10 o'clock. We hope you'll join us for that. You asked the Sheriff's Department, you asked the Police Chief, you asked the Fire Chief to cut in this last budget cycle. So the one that we are in right now. For the Sheriff, it was $636,000. For the Police Department, $1.9 million. For the Fire Department, $586,000. And Ben found out in trying to achieve those savings, particularly when it comes to the police and fire, they have cut overtime. They have had, that means less patrols that police are doing right now in high crime areas. And they are saving the salaries of officers who are quitting. Is our city less safe because of this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I have the highest level of confidence in our police and fire fighters that they're going to do absolutely everything they can to keep us safe. And certainly, as I said before, it wasn't my #1 choice to do this, and we will get back on track and get past this moment with our police and firefighters. Now, the police are having a hard time recruiting new officers, and the chief tells me that the officers that are starting right now don't really want as much overtime. So the younger officers are not really looking for all the overtime that some of the previous generations of police have wanted. we limited the anticipated savings for all our public safety entities to a much lower number than we asked from every other department. So it was a much more limited number that we asked for. And this goes back to being efficient. And police and fire and sheriff are a big part of our overall non-schools budget. So in order for us to balance the budget last year without raising taxes, which is what I was totally committed to, we had to ask them to do this. And I've met with all of them and talked to them in detail about their budgets and about what they're doing. And I'm confident that they can both provide the high level of service we're used to and be more efficient this year, with the understanding that in the coming years we won't be asking as much of them in this regard. I
guess just a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around with fewer first responders on the streets that we're just as safe. And that when you see that a great number of police officers are deciding to quit or go elsewhere, that's saying we're just as safe. There's obviously a problem.
Sure, I think there is a challenge for us there. It's a challenge associated with cost of living, with pay, with the perception of a police officer generally. That's not a Nashville issue, and it's something we're going to have to work hard to overcome. But I have a high level of confidence in our police and fire that they're doing everything they can to keep us safe. And in fact, last year we did see a reduction in murders associated with, I think, good police work. And I know they're frustrated and feel disrespected by last year, and we're trying to, we'll get past that.
Okay, let's jump back to the lines. I know you guys have questions. Let's go to Mary. Mary, are you with us still?
Mary?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, excuse me if I've heard the wrong information, but I did hear that the mayor proposed for school teachers affordable housing to be built where the school bus terminal now exists, or where the school buses are parked at night, close to Bransford Avenue or close to the fairgrounds. Affordable housing will be built. I have taught for almost 30 years. I don't need affordable housing. I need a pay raise, and I take that as a slur on my reputation. Like I say, don't know if this information is valid, but I would like to hear if it is and what the proposal truly says.
Okay, let's find out. Thank you, Mary, for your call, and thanks for teaching for so many years. That's incredible. All right, Mayor?
Sure. So it's actually a sort of right, what she's saying. There's a proposal that the school board is pursuing, and I've been supportive of it. But the idea is that they're at Tech Hill, which is right across from the fairgrounds, very close to Bransford Avenue, is the location where the current bus yard is, I guess is what I would call it, where they do all the maintenance and repairs and park a lot of the buses for schools. That piece of property has become very valuable. It's close to downtown. It's in a developing area, and the school board is looking to see if somebody can build them a replacement facility in another location in exchange for some money, hopefully, and the land. One of the things that the school board is interested in, and I'm supportive of, is building housing that is focused on teachers. Now, affordable might not be the right word, but maybe workforce housing, because a teacher who's been working for 30 years certainly is in one position, but we're having a hard time recruiting teachers just to start out. So if we've got a place for that is high quality and attainable for a young teacher starting out as part of the overall compensation that they're getting, I think that's a good thing. So this is not meant to be a slur, as she said, towards teachers. It's meant to address the fact that housing is expensive in Nashville, that a young teacher starting out might need some housing that's specifically available only to teachers, and that this is an underutilized piece of property. So it seems like a smart thing to me if it can get worked out, and we'll see what happens.
All right, very interesting. We'll have to keep our eye on that one. We do have to take a quick break. I got to squeeze it in here. We'll be right back.